brought to you by Suzuki, who invite you to visit.
Hello, I'm Larry Myers, and this is Motoworld. We've got a lot to show you today, including celebrities riding for charity, Supercross action, and a whole lot more. Now, we'll begin with international road racing. This month, the World Championship Superbike Series visited North America for its annual stops in Canada and the U.S. Last week, we told you what happened in Canada. This week on Motoworld, the story of the U.S. round. Dennis Torres reports.
Flying Fred Merkel, the reigning world champion, took pole position in Brainerd, but it took every bit of his skill. A poor showing in Canada and what would turn out to be a poor showing in the U.S. speaks volumes on his mechanical disadvantages. Merkel's #1 Honda RC30 was in the lead for a handful of laps in the first of two legs, but unfortunately he could not hold on. He was fast enough. The bike, or perhaps the tires, were not. While Merkel faded backwards, Doug Chandler, wearing number 37, stormed to the front on his Kawasaki. Behind him, Ducati-mounted Raymond Roche, number 3, and Belgian Stefan Mertens, number 2. Those three pulled away from the rest of the pack to decide the outcome amongst themselves. Chandler had built up a big lead when an oil leak caused the Californian to slide off his pegs. Mertens and Roche were by in a flash. Chandler rolled in a disappointing third, while Belgian Stefan Mertens took leg number 1. Roche finished second to pad his standings lead over Merkel, who finished in 7th. Leg 2, and it's Mertens in the lead right from the start. If he could win both legs, he would be right in the championship hunt. Number 7, England's Terry Reimer, however, wasn't about to concede the race to Mertens and put his Yamaha into the lead. But before you could say another European victory, enter number 37, Doug Chandler. Oil leak fixed, the Californian was not to be denied on the second go-around. He left everyone in his wake and put his stamp on leg 2. World champ Merkel, meanwhile, rode hard but finished a disappointing 10th. In the winner's circle, Mertens and Reimer were no doubt glad this was the last time they'll see Chandler this year. Raymond Roche benefited greatly from the Tour's visit to North America. You have to believe the speed of the Ducati, the Michelin tires, and a cagey veteran like Roche will be tough to beat this year. Although it's blasphemous to count out Fred Merkel anytime a Superbike title is on the line. Reporting for Motoworld, this is Dennis Torres.
Come on this edition of Motoworld, an exclusive interview with Superbike world champ Flying Fred Merkel. Comedian Jay Leno joins the 7th annual Ride for Kids in Atlanta. And coming up next, Supercross action from Oklahoma. Motoworld continues right after this. The series is headed toward what might be the most exciting finale in the history of the sport. After 15 rounds of the 18-event series, 4 riders in contention for the #1 honors. Among them, defending champ Jeff Stanton, who figured Honda teammate Frenchman Jean-Michel Bayle was the rider to beat.
Jean-Michel's riding well. He's been getting really good starts, so he's the man that I'm focused on beating today. He's like I said, he's riding well, so I just have to go out there and not worry about racing the individuals, just go out there and race the track, and if I'm doing that, I'll be winning.
1 point ahead of Stanton in the championship standings was series points leader Kawasaki's Jeff Motoworld. Bayle was 3rd, just 9 points back, and with an outside shot in 4th, 19 points off the pace, was Suzuki's Larry Ward. With round 16 underway, it was quickly apparent Stanton had figured it only half right. Stanton, #1, was the early leader, followed by Bayle, #22, and the heavy crowd favorite, #4, Guy Cooper from nearby Stillwater, Oklahoma, who was not part of Stanton's prediction. For most of the race, the crowd was on its feet as the stars of the show fought each other and extremely tough race conditions. The track that, according to most, was the hardest to ride of the year, was made even harder by the relentless sun and temperatures in the 90s. Despite the conditions, the trio of riders swapped the lead several times and easily outdistanced the rest of the field, including #20, Jeff Motoworld. The series leader, victim of a poor start, was caught in traffic and struggling for whatever points he could salvage. About the midway point, the temperature and tough track began to take its toll. Mistakes became more and more frequent. Guy Cooper, who had earlier predicted a win or a crash, suffered the latter and was out of the hunt. With Cooper gone, the Honda teammates coasted home. Stanton took the win with Bale second. Mike Kidrowski finished third, giving Honda a 1-2-3 sweep. Matosevic, meanwhile, with an outstanding effort from the back of the pack, finished fourth. With 16 down and 2 to go, defending champ Jeff Stanton is in the championship points lead by 6 over Matosevic and is 11 in front of Bale. Participating in the 125 class were Eastern and Western regional riders. Now, for the East, the Oklahoma round was the last one of the season. The title, in fact, had already been decided. The Western crown, however, will not be determined until the season finale at the LA Coliseum. Forget the titles, though. This was East versus West. The 125 race was barely underway when battle lines were drawn. Jeff Emig, number 36 aboard a Kawasaki, represented the West, and number 27, Suzuki's Denny Stevenson, the East. In 10 Eastern races leading to the Oklahoma round, Stevenson sewed up the title by winning 8. The Eastern champ had every intention of boosting his win record to 9. Jeff Emig, however, was just as intent on halting Stevenson's roll. The action was furious. Stevenson would pass, but before he could catch his breath, Emig would reclaim the lead. The crowd was set for a race-long battle, but it wasn't to be. Watch this. Stevenson plants himself on the hard Oklahoma track. Watch again in slow motion. Stevenson later stated he had either missed a gear or the transmission had popped into neutral. Either way, the East Coast 125 champ, uninjured, was out for the day. While we're at it, let's take a look at another victim of the Oklahoma track. That was Jimmy Button, who at the time was in 4th place. Button, too, was uninjured and would finish 20th for the day. Finishing 1st, 2nd, and 3rd were Western regional riders led by Jeff Emig. The East-West battle will renew at the Los Angeles Coliseum in a special East-West shootout sponsored by Camel. Final standings in the East Coast Series looked like this. Denny Stevenson wrapped up the title by winning 8 of the 11 Eastern events, while Mike Jones, who sat out the season finale with an injured wrist, finished 2nd. In the West, with 2 events yet to run, Ty Davis clings to a narrow lead over Jeremy McGrath, who finished 2nd at Oklahoma. Oklahoma race winner Jeff Emig is in 3rd. Now, the Supercross series has been wild and exciting all year long, and it looks like the action will be nonstop all the way to the end. Now, here's a way for you to be part of the action even when the season is over. It's a brand new Supercross video titled most appropriately, Best of Supercross Thrills, Spills, and Chills. Here's a quick look at what it's all about. To order, call toll-free 1-800-248-5400. Best of Supercross, Thrills, Spills, and Chills cost $19.95 plus $3.75 shipping and handling. Call now, 1-800-248-5400. Celebrities raising money for charities is nothing new, but when it's done on a motorcycle and the star is none other than super comedian and avid biker Jay Leno, well, we just couldn't resist bringing our viewers the story. Chris Larson reports.
The 7th annual Ride for Kids was one of those special days that stay with you forever. Not only because of the celebrities on hand, but because of the camaraderie of fellow bikers and the good feeling of doing something for kids in need. In this case, brain tumor research.
Since 1986, Honda's been participating with the Ride for Kids. Every year we've donated a Honda motorcycle to the individual who's collected the most amount of money for the Ride for Kids, and we feel this is a very good cause so that we can solve this terrible disease of our youth today.
Coordinating and head media PR man for the Ride for Kids is local Atlanta TV personality weatherman Johnny Beckman. His prize catch for this year's run was Jay Leno. The comedian spent most of the pre-race minutes posing. Posing, and of course, more posing. Posing with Leno were Atlanta Falcon head coach Jerry Glanville and former dirt track champ Bubba Schobert.
The Ride for Kids, and we have Jay Leno the first time appearing here for us.
Hello.
Jay's a little busy right now signing autographs. Jay, we're thrilled that you're here, but we want to know why you took out so much time to come out here and be with us today.
Well, it's an important thing, I guess, and it's fun, and it's anytime we can improve the image of bikers is fine with me.
How many motorcycles do you have?
Oh, I got about 27, but don't tell my wife.
You don't ride them all at one time, do you?
Well, I try.
You're involved with other charities besides the Ride for Kids. You want to tell us about those?
Well, we do a lot of other ones. I mean, they're all good causes, and anytime you can help out, you know, it's fun. Especially an event like this, it's fun anyway, you know. Good excuse.
Okay, thanks a million for being here, and we hope you'll come back and see us again.
Well, I'll be back.
Okay, well.
As in previous years, Georgia's Fulton County Sheriff's Department helped coordinate traffic for the ride, which hasn't seen one accident in 7 years. The route for the ride took the 1,800 bikers down Peachtree, through the city of Atlanta, to an amphitheater on the outskirts of town. There, Beckman served as master of ceremonies. He introduced bands, and of course, the man everyone had come to see, Jay Leno. After an impromptu routine, Leno donated a whopping $5 grand out of his own pocket and wished Johnny good luck. The crowd went wild. As of the time of this report, Johnny Beckman and the Ride for Kids had raised well over $200,000 for the Brain Tumor Foundation. A tip of the Motoworld hat to Johnny Beckman and everyone involved with the Ride for Kids. Reporting from Motoworld, this is Chris Larson.
This week's Suzuki Trail Tip deals with an important aspect of off-roading, mastering rocky terrain. Here's Team Suzuki's National Enduro Champion, Randy Hawkins.
This week on Motorworld, I'm going to give you a few pointers on how to conquer rock riding on a trail ride.
When rock riding, always remember to get a good firm grip on the bike with your legs and let the upper part of your body be loose. This helps you gain control of the bike while riding through the rocks. Clutch and throttle control are very important. They help you keep from stalling the bike in a rocky situation. Try to center yourself in the center of the bike. This helps the suspension of the bike work better and gives you better stability over the rocks. Rocks are not always an obstacle. Sometimes you can use them to your advantage.
Those are a few tricks of the trade that made me two-time National Enduro Champion. See you next week on Motorworld. For Team Suzuki, I'm Randy Hawkins.
1 week ago, the legendary Bob Hanna, who is now retired from the motocross wars, was my guest on Motoworld. Now, among other things, Hanna talked about his new pastime, boat racing. Well, this last weekend, with very little practice, Hanna took to the water for his first ever race. You'll recall from last week's interview, Hanna's intention was to run at the back of the pack to gain experience. Well, forget that. At the IOGP Bud Light Powerboat Series opener, Hanna qualified his Mercury-powered Gilman race team entry 8th. Then, because he was a rookie, Hanna started at the tail end of the pack. The 50-lap race was called after 28 laps due to severe storms and lightning. Where was Hanna? In second place and gaining on the leader. If the Hurricanes' initial outing is any indication of what's to come, well, it's motorcycling's loss and boat racing's gain. When Motoworld returns, we'll have the Motorcycle Mechanics Institute's weekly mechanics tip, and later, an exclusive interview with World Superbike champion, Flying Fred Merkel. This week's mechanics tip gives some insight into one of the most common maintenance chores for a motorcyclist, adjusting the chain. Here's Dave Koshalik of the Motorcycle Mechanics Institute with some helpful tips.
Rear chain adjustment could be the most important adjustment on your motorcycle. A tight chain causes excessive wear of the chain, sprockets, and bearings. A loose chain can rub the frame and could jump the sprocket and lock up the rear wheel. Before making the measurement, locate the tightest spot in the chain. Spin the rear wheel and feel the chain all the way around. Once the tight spot is located, sit on the bike or have a friend sit on it for you to compress the rear suspension to a riding position. Make the measurement with a ruler. If an adjustment is needed, loosen the rear axle nut and adjust the left and right chain adjusters equally. This will keep the chain and the rear wheel in alignment. Retorque the axle and replace any cotter pins or clips you may have encountered. For Motorcycle Mechanics Institute, I'm Dave Koshalik.
Well, in addition to top instructors, MMI prides itself on top-notch hands-on classroom facilities. To keep up with the ever-increasing world of two-wheel technology, MMI recently expanded its already state-of-the-art Phoenix facility. This is the MMI FAST program, Factory Authorized Suzuki Training. This past week, high-level Suzuki dignitaries from Suzuki of Japan came to MMI's Phoenix facility to dedicate the new FAST facility.
We found that a lot of the technicians in the field were lacking the basic foundation of education that we felt they needed to keep up with the modern technology. So we started looking for a new strategy, a new resource, And we looked at a lot of schools and we selected MMI to partner up with us and develop a program where we could train people the way we wanted to see them trained and then help them receive jobs out with our dealers.
I'd like to go back to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, or somewhere in Pennsylvania, and work in a dealership and get some good experience as a entry-level technician and just grow from there. There's a lot of things that I could choose to do after that, but that's really my main goal right now.
Students in the Suzuki program, as well as the other manufacturer-authorized programs, work on the latest models and benefit from direct communication from the various manufacturers. The FAST program is just another example of MMI's commitment to providing the finest learning tools available. Now, just a quick reminder, time is running out on Motorcycle Mechanics Institute drawing for a free scholarship. MMI will award one lucky Motoworld viewer a free scholarship to their 27-week Motorcycle Technician Career Program. The winner of the scholarship will have his or her choice of attending either the Phoenix, Arizona or Orlando, Florida facility. Now, this scholarship is valued at approximately $5,000. It's a perfect way to enter the exciting and rewarding field of motorcycle mechanics. For more information on this free scholarship offer, call 1-800-225-1234. Operators are standing by 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Please, only serious inquiries. Now, that number again for the free MMI scholarship, 1-800-225-1234.
Just how
Fred Merkel had a disappointing day in Brainerd, Minnesota. He is still regarded by most as the #1 rider in the series. Dennis Torres spent some time with Flying Fred and found the world champ is as candid as ever.
As most reporters will tell you, talking to Fred Merkel is a rare pleasure indeed. One, because he's always accessible, and two, he's not afraid to actually say something when he speaks. For instance, on the subject of European press.
I guess I'm really tired of all over the winter, you know, I get all the magazines from Europe and it's like, well, you know, they'll never do it again. He's done it twice, just like my whole career. Like when I was racing in America, they say, well, we'll never do it again. Well, I just keep doing it again.
Since Flying Fred's last visit to Brainerd, the U.S. Superbike scene has changed quite a bit. New rules, new machinery, and new life.
Well, like at this race here, the American guys, you know, American manufacturers have always had the fastest motorcycles in the world, you know, including superbikes. You know, when I rode for Honda America, boy, I always had fast stuff. And then when I went to Europe, it was like, boy, I'm used to real fast motorcycles, and they weren't quite up to the capabilities of the ones that I used to ride. Like we come here, there's all the American guys that are all going fast. You know, it's home track, but they have fast motorcycles and they ride real good. I think some of the European guys are going, wow, you know, these guys are fast. Who are these guys? It's kind of neat. It's kind of neat to see.
Merkel was a very busy man last year, competing in 47 races in World Superbike, Italian Superbike, 500cc GP, and World Endurance. How long can he keep it up?
I've been very, very lucky. I haven't ever come to a racetrack in my career yet thinking, you know, what am I doing here? You know, I shouldn't be doing this anymore. I had a bad weekend last weekend. I felt terrible. I was sick. The bike went slow, and I went slow, and the tires were terrible, and we just had a bad week. But I never felt like, God, I want to give this up. You know, I can't take it anymore. I can't stand it. I just love it. I love going fast. I love putting a good lap together, you know, when everything's working so good and I go out there and I go real fast and I feel so good about it, and I just love it. I'm going to do it for as long as I can.
That's bad news for his rivals. Good news for motor racing journalists worldwide. Reporting for Motoworld, this is Dennis Torres.
While Flying Fred Merkel was upholding U.S. honors in World Superbike, Wayne Rainey, Kevin Schwantz, and John Kosinski were doing the same at the Austrian Grand Prix. Let's take a look at how they fared. In the 500 class, Kevin Schwantz made it 2 in a row. Series points leader Wayne Rainey finished in second place with Wayne Gardner and Eddie Lawson still on the sidelines. The rest of the best were Michael Duhan, Pierre Francesco Keeley, and Niall McKenzie. Rainey still leads the standings, but Schwantz is making a move. A DNF on the part of Rainey could put the Texas Suzuki rider in the standings lead. 9 events remain on the calendar. And we are out of time. Please join us next week for highlights from the Albuquerque Mile, San Jose Supercross, and Loudon Road Race. For all of us here at Motoworld, keep your wheels on the ground, your feet on the pegs. I'm Larry Myers. We'll see you next week.